Hey, so I've recently been given the green light that I can share my testimony fully now. Before I just couldn't. Before I just kind of had a really big reason why I couldn't share it. And now I can be open and honest, and I'm so grateful for it because it's really helping me grow. I have been sober for 3 months and 3 years. 3 years and 3 months. I self-medicated for a period of about 2 years. It was not a good time. I had been through some major traumatic events in my life that I just could not handle. I couldn't get over it. Couldn't move past it. And every time I would start to get used to what was happening, something else traumatic was happening. And I think I emotionally just kind of shut down, and I just lost all hope. I was in the Navy and as an MP, and I gave my all to the Navy, including my time with my sons. And something really bad happened, and they turned their back on me. Not the whole entire Navy, but my command, the leading officers, the captain, turned their back and swept it under the rug. As if nothing ever happened. Sorry, we got some bad traffic. I had a couple people in my command who really stood out for me, stood up for me, and stood behind me. And to them, I value you, I appreciate you, and you are the reason that I have fought and been so strong. And I'm always, will forever be dedicated to you. You know who you are, Elizabeth and Kevin Jones. After that, I met a man who would later become my husband, quote unquote, who knew what had happened, and he preyed on my weaknesses and thought it was okay to take advantage of my weak emotional state, and started emotionally manipulating me tremendously to the point where he sexually manipulated me. He did all kinds of things just to make me feel like a less than person, and just completely, I allowed him to completely ruin my state of mind. I was trapped. I felt trapped. I had nowhere to go in my mind. He would kick me out and then ask me to come back, and I was so weak, so distraught, and had nowhere to go because everybody, I'd exhausted all my avenues of places to live because I was living with him. I really allowed myself to be in some bad situations with him. And I've learned from that, thank God, now. And I think it's, it happened for a reason. Sad to say, but it did. But now, further on, after I left that, and finally broke free from that horrible situation that turned into a marriage. 3 weeks into the marriage, he cheated on me, and I caught him. And I still stayed. But anyway, moving on. I finally got away from him, and I met Richard. At this point, I had started self-medicating. Didn't even realize it, but I was on tramadol for my shoulder pain and didn't realize that I had started using it to emotionally numb the emotional pain. And hadn't even noticed that I was addicted at that point. And it's just tramadol, but it still is addictive. And it's still an opiate. Well, let me rephrase that. It's not an opiate, but it is a Schedule II drug now because of this. It wasn't when I was taking it. But anyway, back to the point. I keep saying he, but back to the point. Richard and I knew each other from years ago. We were sweethearts when we were teenagers. We moved away from each other and loved each other dearly. And we both struggled with self-medicating. That's one of the things I think that brought us together, because otherwise we probably wouldn't have been together. We probably would have just kind of said, well, I got issues, they probably won't want me. So anyway, Richard and I had a really strong bond, and we would break up and get back together, and normally I wouldn't go right back into something like that, but it was because of our addictions that we acted like that. And he was in the middle of getting help, and he had left and was headed to Sparta from Smithville. He left a location in Smithville and lost control of his vehicle. There's actually a video of the accident, and he just drove off the road, never took his foot off the gas, never hit the brakes. He just went off in the ravine. And it landed on the cab, so I'm pretty sure that it killed him instantly. And I had been sober for 8 months, and he had been sober for about 3 months. And when that happened, of course, he lost his life, but I lost my future. And I held it together for 8 months. I stayed sober. I leaned on God. And then something else happened with his family, that they had an addiction as well, and we didn't get along very well because I didn't want to be around it, and it drove me over the edge. I allowed it to put me in a position to where I used again to numb the pain. And I started back for about 2 months, and the whole time I was leaning on God. Please, God, get me out of this, whatever I need to do. Lord, please just save me. Please just save me. Get me out of this, because I can't do this on my own. And I would lay in the bed in the mornings when I'd wake up, and I would beg him, God, please just take me. Either save me or take me today. I don't want to go another day. Please just take me. Thank God he didn't take me. He saved me. He put that hope and that desire in my heart. And I started feeling this strong feeling of humbleness, like overwhelming amount of humbleness. And at that point, I knew I wanted to have nothing to do with any kind of self-medicating or numbing the pain anymore, because God was listening. He heard me, and I didn't want to disappoint him anymore. So I stood up at that point and I fought. He gave me that willpower. He gave me that desire to fight, and I fought with everything in me, and I stood up and went forward. And from that point till now, he has never taken that desire to fight out of my heart, because he knew I meant every word of it. So if you think for 1 second there's no way out, of your despair or your situation or your self-medication or your drinking or whatever you might be doing that's your stronghold, pornography, whatever it might be, He will. He hears you. You just stay focused on Him and don't give up on Him, because He won't give up on you. Fight. Ask Him to give you that desire, to take it away, and He will. I'm living proof. Then I had no willpower to fight. Now I have my own business on my own. A professional cleaning business. I redo hardwood floors, and I'm a female. I redo hardwood floors, and I redo any kind of floor pretty much. Now I'm here in Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge and Knoxville, expanding my business, and this has been 3 years. This is what God does. He puts a fire under you, and He gives you joy, and He gives you the strength to get through it. You just have to believe and put your faith in Him. He loves you. Come to the light with me.